our style may be different. I may be more, hard and rough, but I only get to that stage when, the nice approach fail. But when you put down your food and then you say, no, I'm not going to take this, it seems like it works all the time. So why do we get to this stage? I always wonder. I was raised in a very normal family. My parents are just mere orang kampung, not educated at all. But they have never, controlled the way I think, and they have never controlled, the things I want to do, if it's within the accepted boundary at that time. For example, like in my kampung, I always come back late from school because I play hockey, for school and for the state. So I practice a lot in the afternoon. So I come back late, and I was very active in school, in drama, society, and everything like that. And so I do come back late, and so much so that there are like rumors going around in the kampung that, that I'm a loose girl and things like that. And my parents, they never, take notice of what other people say. They know who I am, and, and they actually know what I'm doing. So this is, I think, education. Of course, the education now is very different than when I was in school. So I suspect there's something to do with the way you are raised and the way that the education being implemented in our schools nowadays. And it takes a lot for someone to get out of that mold, but majority will follow. They will be just like sheep, because this infiltration of controlling you in school is so much nowadays that we see in the youngsters. They only believe what they have been told. They only believe of what they have read, without actually using their own brain to actually understand whether this information is correct or not. Being a young child at that time, I actually asked the ustads, if God created everything in this world, who created God? I said. I questioned the ustads on this. And he got really upset with me. And he actually told me off and say, oh, you can't ask these questions, you will go to hell. The normal response by all these people, right? So this is the thing about questioning. I must admit that I have always been a very inquisitive person since young. I will not just accept any kind of behavior that I find or any kind of things that I find unacceptable. I don't know whether this is you are born with it or you can actually adopt this kind of attitude. But so basically, I say that education, back to education, we need to have proper education. The difference I see when I go to international schools. Okay, they call me to give a talk on orang asli issues and stuff like that, and I see the difference or the children in these kind of schools compared to the children that actually go to our national schools. They are very inquisitive. They will ask questions, and they are encouraged by their teachers. It is so different from what I see, the attitude of these children compared to the children, that actually we see in our national schools. And I just feel that there is something to do with raising your child as a family and also education. Because when children goes to school, they spend more time in school than at home, actually. So the teachers need to be proper nurturers. They are not just there to teach, but they are also there to actually give the right things to the children on how they should grow up. And this is where I think our country have failed. Too much religious indoctrination in schools. This is why I see the difference in the way the non-Malays are thinking, and some Malays, on how they think. The non-Malays can see the forest from the trees, but unfortunately, I see in my own race, they are very stuck in their religious views. They feel that it is all about that. I just feel that what has been taught in schools, there's something seriously wrong there. Is it something to do with the religious classes? Are they learning the right thing in Islam? To be a good citizen in a country? I really don't know what is going on in our schools now. So when I say that we need to empower ourselves, it's just not from ourselves alone. We also need to look at the system on how we actually run this country by having a good education system, and actually encourage parents to actually open up the minds of their children, to let their children be free, because children are born free from being racist, free from being a bigot. It's all how we input in them. And I believe that why I actually grew up like this is because my parents never told me anything about racist, about race, about things like all these things that we see nowadays. So being empowered is not being brave. It's not being being arrogant. It is about speaking up for your own self. It is about being yourself. You don't need to live in fear, all your life. You just need to speak up when somebody put you down. When somebody actually tell you that you are wrong, that's fine. I can accept if people say I'm wrong, I will accept it. But it doesn't mean that I have to agree with that person. We must learn these things. So yeah, this a question. Peter asked, empowerment like other life skill. Yes, it's a process. It is life skill in which you can actually acquire. I don't suddenly. I wasn't born suddenly to become like very vocal, and stuff like that. But I do believe that you can actually acquire this skill by speaking up for yourself. Start with yourself first. Let's say you go to the bank, and then you find that the bank is very, very slow, and that the server is very, very rude to you. You just accept those kind of things. You can actually tell the server off, by saying, you do not need to be rude to me. Okay, so say it. Maybe they will then understand that, they never realized they have been rude, but now they realize somebody telling them that they are being rude, so they realize they have to change. So these are the things that we actually must do for ourselves. Nobody else will do it for you. It is actually up to yourself. So I just this empowerment, like my daughter, for example, I never stop her from doing what she wants to do. I only tell her, for example, I said, you can go out if you want to, whatever you want to do, but just tell me that you are where you are, so that I know you are safe. And I also tell her that you must be yourself. You cannot actually try to follow others. For example, this is, for example, like she's a girl, right? So when she was at school in her teens, of course they are like with boys and stuff like that. It's something that it's normal, right? Teenagers. So I only tell her this. I said, Yuli, you have you have a friend that who you told me that keep going out with boys and stuff like that. I said, there's nothing wrong going out with boys, but you think about what others think of you. If you look like you are an easy person, you go out with this and you go out with that, and then you sleep here and you sleep there, your self-respect, is gone. People will look down on you, and people will talk about you and say that you're a loose girl. You have no reputation, basically. So it's, first of all, you must respect yourself. And once you respect yourself, everybody else then will respect you. So, but of course you can't satisfy everyone, but you know yourself what you are doing. You know yourself that you don't make yourself cheap. So this is what I have to say about you. And you know what? My daughter, actually, after that, they say she basically don't go out, actually she becomes like, oh, she knows that I trust her. She knows that she can do whatever she wants, but she doesn't have to. So this is the thing. I actually go out more than her. Then she's like my mother. When of course, when I go out, then she will actually text me, "Mommy, where are you? Are you okay?" She's like the reverse. But so here, this is the thing: is about not controlling your children. It's about telling them about the birds and the bees, rather than trying to control the lives of your children. This empowerment is actually is up to oneself, right? So basically, it's something to do with individual and collective change. If we can help others, then we are empowering that person as well. So, and I won't say anymore. The final thing I want to say, there is an important role by our government. Our government needs to teach our people the skills and the knowledge that will motivate them to take steps to improve their own lives, to be empowered, not to control the people, not to control the minds of the people. And also the parents, they have a role to play. They actually must allow their children, they must allow their children to grow up what they want to be. And I believe once we have these two things together, we will actually breed more better citizens. So I will leave all the questions that you have now. So that's my kind of sharing for today.